Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Robert, and today's gaming roundup is honestly one of the wildest ones we've had in a while. This is Roberts Roundup for Friday, July 25th, 2025. And honestly, this roundup, we've got Square Enix admitting they lost the Final Fantasy Tactics source code. Yeah, you heard that right. Sony is making major industry moves with a nearly $500 million investment into Bandai Namco. A new CG art from Final Fantasy 9 gives us serious remake vibes, and the PS5 just got a firmware update. All this, including Battlefield 6, a Mass Effect TV series, and a confession from the Order 1886 boss. Let's jump into this madness, guys. So I know what you want to hear. Final Fantasy Tactics lost its source code. So let's kick things off with surprising news this week. And honestly, maybe this month, Square Enix has officially confirmed that they no longer have access to the original source code or master data for Final Fantasy Tactics. This came directly from the game's director in an interview about the upcoming Tactics Ivalice Chronicles remastered. And here's what he said, and I quote, "There were a number of major challenges, but all of them stem from the fact that the master data and source code from the original game no longer existed." So let that sink in, guys. They lost the entire foundation of one of the most beloved tactical RPGs ever made. And when asked how this even happened, he clarified that this isn't to say that they were mishandled or poorly managed. Keeping that kind of data wasn't a normal thing to do at the time. That might sound shocking in today's era where, how games are archived and backed up constantly. But in the PS1 era, once development wrapped up, the discs were usually printed. A lot of source material were then discarded or worse, overwritten for localization purposes. So, how did developers even manage to recreate the game? So, according to Mahiro, he put it simply: by sheer force, we analyzed a number of existing versions of the game and reconstructed the programming of the original. There were also times where we played the original game and it worked out by feel alone. That is both incredibly impressive and a little terrifying. The idea that they had to reverse engineer the code and rebuild parts of the game from scratch just by feel, that feels weird. But, they did cut out the War of the Lions scene and things like that. So the original version of Final Fantasy Tactics is a very complete game from a design and story perspective, and if we have to make major changes, it would only be a loss, according to the director. But if you were hoping for the PSP content to return, it looks like Square is going to not have it. I mean, what do you guys think? So, by the way, it doesn't take long, but please hit that like, subscribe, share button, comment on this video, and it helps me to bring more content to you like this. So, but speaking of content, Final Fantasy 9 fans, this story is for you. So Famitsu magazine just released brand new CG artwork of the entire main cast of Final Fantasy 9, and the internet was exploding with speculation that this was a long awaited rumor that they wanted. But the artwork is not reused from any past versions of the game. It features the cast fully reimagined in modern high-res models. The designs are faithful but clearly touched up for modern look. And here's the kicker: the models look far beyond for what you see in a simple re-release or merch promotion. It's enough to make you say, is Square teasing us again? Now let's rewind. Final Fantasy 9 Remake was part of that infamous NVIDIA GeForce database leak we saw a couple years ago. Nearly every game from Kingdom Hearts 4 to Tactics Ogre Reborn has been confirmed. The only holdout, Final Fantasy 9. We don't have an official announcement yet, but the timing of this art and the quality of the rendering and Square's silence is making fans think Gamescom or Tokyo Game Show might be finally revealing this game. But until then, we'll be stuck staring at the art, wondering, were we being baited or blessed, or even admire the theme that we have on our background sometimes, you know? And with that said, moving on to the next story, Sony has officially rolled out a new beta firmware update for the PS5, and it's starting July 24th. But the mystery here is it's a teased controller feature that's included in this update. Sony hasn't really provided any full details yet. It's currently limited to beta testers, but speculations are already running wild. Theories range from AI-powered haptic feedback upgrades to potential adaptive grip. Um, but some believe it could tie into like a new DualSense Pro 2 or even something new for PlayStation Portal 2. Who knows? We could be looking at a smart controller mapping, heat-sensitive grips, more accessibility. Sony staying quiet for now, but with Gamescom just right around the corner, we might not even have to wait that long. So, speaking of Sony, the next story we have is Sony purchased 16 million shares of Bandai Namco for roughly $464 million. Now, that isn't an acquisition, but Bandai Namco still operates independently. But the investment is described as a strategic partnership aimed at strengthening engagement with anime and manga fans. So, what does that mean in practice? Well, Bandai is behind some of the biggest anime games out there: Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, One Piece Odyssey, Demon Slayer, Gundam Evolution, and even more. This deal could open the door for PS5 content right, exclusive publishing, or even crossover media involving anime streaming services under Sony's umbrella like Crunchyroll. It also yet signaled that Sony is doubling down on Japanese entertainment, not just gaming, but between this and push into live service and mobile, Sony's 10-year plan is clearly taking shape, guys. You know what else is a great investment? Hitting that subscribe button. So, easy to do, guys. But hey, the Battlefield 6 trailer has dropped. It's real, and you know what? Take a look at it. After the disaster of 2042, fans have been wanting this game, so it looks like it's going back to like a modern warfare, maybe Battlefield 4, but jumped up. But how can a dice redeem itself? But we only know a little bit, but maybe this could be Dice's chance of getting Battlefield 6 on the right ship, guys. But speaking of TV shows, Mass Effect TV show is think about coming out. So Amazon's hit-making Fallout team is officially working on a Mass Effect live-action series. While details are still slim, early reports suggest that the series will adapt the original trilogy, possibly starting with the retelling of Mass Effect 1. So BioWare has said to be advising on the project, and if the quality of Fallout is anything to go by, this could finally be the Mass Effect us fans have been waiting for. So fingers crossed that they don't shepherd this missed opportunity into a mass disappointment. You see what I had to do with the pun there? Hey, the next segment is, let's talk about that new Marvel game, Tokon. I don't remember how to say it, but it sounds like it's coming to EVO 2025. So lately, this game's been flying under the radar since the teaser trailer earlier this year. But fans of attending EVO will finally be able to get this hands on this game. So the early buzz of Marvel Tokon as a fusion between Guilty Gear Strive and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but with the polish and production quality you'd expect from a Sony first-party release. There's a quote from this article I read that stood out. It said that Sony appears to be taking a serious swing at the competitive fighting game scene with Marvel Tokon, which blends cel-shaded characters, over-the-top cinematic supers, and iconic Marvel IP in a way fans haven't seen before. So this could be a moment for Sony to solidify this presentation at FGC, especially if Street Fighter 6 continues to dominate the project. Who knows? We'll check it out. But you know what? This next article is interesting to read. So in a recent piece by GameSpot, Ready at Dawn's co-founder dropped a huge bombshell about The Order 1886. Remember that game? A game remembered for its incredible graphics. That's pretty much it. But he revealed, and I quote, about 30% of the game was cut just months before launch. And that cut content, it wasn't small side stuff, according to the interview. Full levels, story mechanics, and even character arcs were removed to hit Sony's launch deadline. That might explain why the game felt so unfinished and rushed, despite its cinematic flair. He went on to even say that we always saw the Order as part of a larger universe, but we just didn't have time to tell it all. So this makes you wonder, though, if the Order got the second chance like Cyberpunk or No Man's Sky, would the game have been that good? We don't know. It's been 10 plus years since that game came out. And finally, guys, Ubisoft continues to be Ubisoft. In a recent investors call, executives from the publisher claim that microtransactions actually make their games more enjoyable. Yeah, he really said that. So here's a quote I read recently that said that we believe that, well, design microtransaction enhance a player enjoyment and allow for more personalization, progression, and replayability. Now let's be real. When the Assassin's Creed series starts locking XP boosters and outfits behind real money, it's hard to say that's really enhancing enjoyment. But the statement has triggered backlash from some fans and even some developers, with the core argument being games used to include this content as rewards, now it's monetized. So, hey, that's going to wrap it up for me in today's roundup. So, let me know. Are you picking up Final Fantasy Tactics day one? Do you think the 9 remake is going to be revealed soon? Maybe. What are your thoughts on Sony buying Namco? So, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button if you want more of the gaming news. And you should also check out too, I'm also in a weekly podcast. I'll type that in the description for you guys to check out, as well as I did a video this week, which I'll also link to. It talks about my journey through Final Fantasy VIII, kind of the time machine. I like to call it the JRPG time machine. So we'll definitely check that out. But yeah, I'll link them in there, guys. So, thank you so much for watching. And I'd like to say just, I appreciate you guys just taking the time to be able to watch this channel. And definitely, also check out the podcast I'm in weekly. We got tons of things in store for you. So, if you like what I watch, like, subscribe, share, turn on that notification. Get those videos out there and comment. I read your guys' comments all the time, so I love to hear what you guys are thinking. Anything you liked from here, just let me know. And until then, I'm Robert. This is the Roundup. Thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you guys, and remember, keep gaming. Thanks, guys.